Welcome to Rabbi Son, hot takes on news, pop culture, and religion, hosted by Rabbi Patrick and my son, Javon. Spiritual, irreverent, always fearless, produced by Darshan Yeshiva, and this is the serial killer episode. So, serial killer episode. So, serial killers, a fascination of yours. Much like your generation, you are into true crime.
Exactly.
So why serial killers? Why did you want to talk about this today?
It's not so much serial killers, it's why people are so fascinated, or the attraction to people who have killed people.
Got it. So why do you think people are so attracted to people who are murderers?
So, I don't know.
Somebody. This is going to be a short podcast then.
Yeah, no, I mean, they can find them attractive.
Okay.
People can have that, like, there's like a dark side. This is like, this is dangerous.
Right.
This is like, something that's, dangerous, hot.
Subversive. Okay. Why do you think we're attracted to that as human beings? What is it about the antihero that we find so appealing?
Who's we?
Like humanity, the thing that you're part of, the human race.
I don't know, because it's someone that's not trying to, like, for example, like with superheroes, like you have these people who are just like perceived as like good, everything they do is good, and it's always good, and you have this person, the other person that is doing good, but also have to do some bad to get the good done.
Okay,
and they're not so, like fake, like stand on the soapbox and I'm so much better than you because I do things this way.
Okay, so we live in a world often where there's like when I was a kid, you'd play a game in the yard like good guys and bad guys, or like good guys versus bad guys. So we get into this binary of good guys versus bad guys. And we know that's not true because good people do bad things and bad people do good things. And so you think maybe that's where maybe some of this comes from?
I mean, I guess the people are thinking that people are simple. Like, that comes down to that. Like, some good people. I think people are just people.
Okay.
And everyone is capable of anything.
Sure, I would agree with that.
I mean, but some people are, like, legitimately, like, psychopaths.
Right.
That's just clinical.
Right, that's very true. Okay, so why the topic of serial killers? Like, why are we discussing that today?
Because of, the whole Luigi Mangione.
Right.
And everyone's like, fawning and just like,
gotcha.
Gaga.
So not just serial killers, but like people who commit these crimes and then they goo goo gaga.
Yeah, and like the media also helping with the elevation of these people,
right?
And then like the dramatization when it comes to a media form, and they get like a hot actor to like, play it, and they make it all like this like like racy situation.
So this is like the Menendez brothers show,
exactly.
Or I suppose the O.J. Simpson ones were never like in that exactly, but yeah,
because O.J. Simpson wasn't attractive.
Oh,
like if it was like an attractive person, then like, oh yeah.
I'm just trying to think of these like famous cases, and that was the Menendez for my generation, right? It's O.J. Simpson and the Menendez brothers. Those
O.J. Simpson, Menendez brothers, Ted Bundy, now Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer were before my time, but like, yeah, but I can see like how these streaming series that have come up and all that. Yeah, they've sort of glorified these people on some level.
Yeah, and it's like, no, these people did bad things. They literally kill people, and you're trying to make them like this hot. Like, I get like sex sales, but people died.
Right.
That's the ultimate situation.
Right.
Like, you're just like making these people seem, and then they like sometimes people like try to. It's like trying to downplay what they did a little bit by making it like it's like this show, it's like this drama, but this is people's lives.
Right. Yeah. I don't know where some of that stuff comes from. In Judaism, we don't glorify death. In fact, I think you could argue we do sort of the pastoral or the family or the community part of death well, because we're good with like having funerals quickly. We have customs, it's, boom, 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 boom. We take care of people, all that. But actual death, like that's just not something death and afterlife isn't our shtick. Like it's just not what we do. So then I actually looked up, and now that I've Googled this, I'm sure I'm going to get all kinds of horrible things. I actually looked up Jewish serial killers because I was like, if I'm going to speak intelligently about this, and the only one I could come up with was Sam Berkowitz, although technically maybe he doesn't count anymore because he became an evangelical Christian behind bars. So that's actually a debate that exists. Like, can you actually convert out of Judaism? But that's a whole other topic. He's the only one I could find. So
that'll be another conversation for a different day.
Okay, exactly. Write that down. Put that in the notes.
Because I have many thoughts.
Well, there you go. Then we need to record that podcast.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you're right. Like people like the anti-hero, people like the bad boy, the, whatever.
Yeah, this is more than anti-hero because Luigi Mangione, I will concede a little bit that people will get that anti-hero vibe. Like, oh yeah, he shot this, CEO who's making all these, the CEO's making all these bad policies affecting people and people are dying. So I get people see that, that justice side of he did what needed to be done. But then are you going to say what the Unabomber,
right?
And the what was the one that blew up that truck on that federal building?
You're talking about oh gosh, how time flies.
Timothy
McVeigh, yeah,
exactly.
The Oklahoma City bomber. Yeah.
Are those people that are anti-heroes?
Well, this is the thing that scared me on TikTok some time ago, where suddenly everyone was posting about maybe who was it, Osama bin Laden or something. They found the Osama bin Laden letter, and suddenly everyone was posting about it. They're like, gee, maybe Osama bin Laden is right. I'm like, he led to the slaughter of 3,000 Americans.
But
no, there is no but. There is no but to that.
No, it is no but to that. But I'm just going back on what you said. You said sometimes bad people can do good things. So those people can perceive that letter as, oh, maybe he wasn't that bad and there was some good in him. You said those words, not me.
Well, I think that when you kill 3,000 people, you probably get to be put in the special category of terrible human being.
I mean, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people. We could talk about. We're not comparing. Never mind. We're not even going to go into.
We're not going to compare and contrast how terrible people are.
No.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, there are certain individuals who killed 6 million of a particular group who, we're not going to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but back to the bigger question though of, what is it about, is it a certain kind of person that is attracted to this kind of people who do these terrible things? I remember there were these 2 young women, maybe they were even high school students, I don't know, but who became fascinated by the Columbine shooters.
Mm-hmm.
And they had basically, and they, this was 20 years after the shooting. So they weren't contemporaries of one another. Mm-hmm. They just became deeply fascinated by this vintage thing to them, right? This thing that happened way back in the before times. And they started a website or some social media around it, and were very, as you would say, goo goo gaga over the Columbine shooters, and it just became this almost retro cool thing for them. I don't know where, what is that? Is it a certain kind of person, you think, who goes in that direction, or is that something we're all capable of on some level?
I think we're all capable of finding some of those people attractive, but
attractive both physically and.
I mean, any of us are capable of oh yeah, they're attractive, and then oh, but they still killed 13 people.
Right.
But some people are ooh, that's they're just I don't know. It's this wanting to be close to danger in that that rush of, oh, they're bad. Oh, they did this, bad stuff. It was so dark. Don't understand it. Not a psychologist.
Right. Right. Yeah. And this would be a really great time to have like a guest. So if you're ever interested in being a guest on Rabbi and Son and you know some things that we don't know, let's definitely talk.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
was on some reading. I'm a forensic psychiatrist. These are 5 reasons why women fall in love with murderers.
Okay.
Prolific serial killers like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer had numerous female fans. Forensic scientists, forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Shom Das, uh, London cites, factors like hyperstephilia, blah blah. An expert has explained why some women are attracted to murderers like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, Chris Watts, despite their horrific violent crimes. Dr. Shom Das, 44, is a forensic psychiatrist based in London, as well as a YouTube content creator making videos about mental health topics for his channel, A Psych for Sore Minds. I should check that out. See what got going on. In a recent video, he addressed why some women are drawn to men who commit the most violent crimes, putting forward several explanations from childhood trauma to a condition called hyperstephilia. Explaining the complexities of why some women are drawn to violent criminals. In this video, Dr. Das explains, quote, I mentioned Ted Bundy, but there are also other high-profile murderers, including Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer, and the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez, who was sent letters and gifts from women all over the world. To me, the Dahmer case is extremely shocking because these pure, kind-hearted women managed to look past the cannibalism, the offending, the oh, it doesn't bleep out.
Bleep, 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 bleep. Yep.
They have looked past his own sexuality and they still swipe right. The psychiatrist also referenced the most recent case of Chris Watts, who unalived his pregnant wife Shanann and their 2 daughters, Bella 4 and Celeste 3, in 2018. He says, quote, Chris Watts received love letters and photos from female admirers. One even sent a photo of herself in a bikini to Chris Watts in prison. Looking at the possible reasons for this, the first factor Dr. Doss cited is psychosis. Psychosis. He described a case in which a woman experiencing psychosis believed she was communicating telepathically with the criminal, and that they were in a relationship despite the 2 never having met.
Right.
In these cases,
yeah, there we go.
He says the women are mentally unwell. They are not making rational choices. He adds, and also, this is an extremely rare presentation, so we can just sort of put it off to the side, and I just wanted to give it an honorable mention. Okay, because no, psychosis, I would fear the day, if and when it happens, I become famous, and like someone is just like obsessed with me.
Yeah.
I've never met that person, and then they like have to. I just think that is like a crazy thing that like people can have.
Yeah, I mean, in the early days of my work, I had a person, and this was actually when I was dating, your mother. So I got an email from someone who was really interested in my blogging, like, because that's what that was. That I was a blog, and like just lots of like fan mail. And sure, that's nice. Like I appreciate it. This is before like Instagram and people kind of communicating that way. And eventually, this person figured out that I lived in Atlanta. And she said, I am going to go fly somewhere. Atlanta is my connection. Is there a way that I can meet you in the airport? Because I just really want to hug you and kiss you.
Ugh.
And I had to tell them, like, look, I have a girlfriend. Like, this is not appropriate. Sorry. Yeah. And I remember telling this rabbi friend of mine at the time, I was like, yeah, like this crazy thing happened. Like I've never had this experience before. And he was like, Patrick, I deal with a lot of weird stuff, like as a big synagogue rabbi, but I've never had someone send me an email telling me how much they wanted to hug me and kiss me. You are in your own, you're in your own world.
Yeah,
so yeah, that's the most unusual it's ever gotten.
I mean, considering like, that's rare.
Yeah.
It's,
and they maybe didn't mean any harm by it, but like
no, that's weird. That's weird.
It is weird. It is weird. Weird versus harm is 2 different things.
All right. Number 2, a history of trauma. A more common explanation, according to Dr. Doss, is a history of trauma. He explains, quote, so they've either been physically harmed and or emotionally abused by a partner or by their parents, and they want to repeat this kind of cycle either subconsciously or intentionally.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, these women tend to gravitate towards what's familiar instead of what's safe.
Mm-hmm.
And we see this phenomenon in victims of abuse.
Yep.
Sometimes they become abusers themselves, and tragically, some young girls who witness domestic violence as a child pick abusive partners when they become adults themselves, partly because that was
the misspelling or grammar.
Yeah, grammar. Because it's integrated in them to see violence as a way of conflict resolution.
Yes.
He explains that, ironically, these women feel safe in their relationships with killers because even though they are violent offenders, they are behind bars, allowing the women to actually control and dominate the relationship, maybe for the first time ever.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, but all of that tracks. I mean, it's called an ACE. It's an adverse childhood experience. So yeah, yep, I can see how all that would play out.
I mean, I have no comments.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
All right. Number 3, savior complex. There are other cases in which women, quote, feel that they could save or transform the prisoner or the killer, seeing it as a challenge.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, like, come on, it's a killer. Like, that's crazy. A serial killer. Okay, I will probably like concede. Like, it's kind of hard to like try to concede. Like, if it was like an accident, like it was something that happened accidentally, or like maybe there's like a drug related situation, and they were dealing with addiction. They actually killed somebody, but I can't concede a multiple unaliver.
Right.
Like that is like that person. You can't say
right. Yeah, I think that this probably goes back to something that a friend of mine said to me years ago. This was in my single days, and as a female friend, and she said, I asked her, like, why are women attracted to like these terrible guys? And she said, what, and I'm not saying that this is true. This is what she said to me. We were in our 20s and dumb. But she said to me, well, it's the difference between like if you're a nice guy, you're nice to everyone. Okay. Nice to her or him or nice to whoever, right? If you are kind of a jerk, you're a jerk to everyone except the person you're with. And then that's an ego boost for them. I'm the one person on the planet that you are not a jerk to. Now, the problem is eventually he's going to be a jerk to you. Like that's not going to last forever. But I could see that. I could see there being something to that with some of these people.
All right. Number 4, idealized relationships. A further psychological aspect cited by the psychiatrist is that, quote, some of these women have a kind of notion of a perfect relationship. By being in a relationship with someone in prison, they don't have to endure a day-to-day issue that are actually involved in most relationships. Sure. He explains they don't have to go through the mundane stuff. There's no laundry to do. There's no need to cook for him. There's no smelly socks left on the staircase.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is all just a matter of the price of admission. The price of admission is pretty low if you're dating someone from jail. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Then last option was hyperstability. I feel like we don't even talk about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think I don't know why it's like dating someone in prison is like weird, especially if they're not getting out. Like it's like it's like a waste of life.
Yeah, maybe these are I don't know. I don't know half of what people do sometimes, but I would hope for people to have relationships that are very fulfilling and meaningful, and that allow them to have those relationships in the world. And the point of incarceration is someone cannot operate in this world. They can't operate in the free world. It's about quarantine, So yeah.
I think it just comes down to I don't know. Some people are just unwell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I would say like go seek therapy, but sometimes, typical therapy doesn't work for people. So
seek out something that'll work.
Something different.
Yeah.
And that means, moving, starting fresh, like getting some new friends.
Yeah.
Like changing your diet, exercising.
Sure, right. Like whatever it takes.
Something that's like not,
Yeah, you got to break that. Like break whatever that thing is that keeps you going into these relationships.
Or like
obsessing about this stuff.
Stop watching true crime. Weighing yourself off. If you're watching true crime every day, then watch 2 episodes a day, then go to 1, and then just just all on
step down therapy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I hate the idea that there are people who limit their lives around these kind of addictions or these relationships with these people that they can't have any kind of relationship with in this world. It's really sad. Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, weird, sad. Yeah. Like, it's not kind of hard for me to feel sad, like, because you're like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, this person, like, literally just killed.
Well, it's saddening for them. Like, they don't have the ability to have that kind of relationship. That includes the mundane, because I think the mundane is where some of the most beautiful parts of a relationship are.
Yeah, but like sending thousands of letters, like, they're just something. Like, I get, like, I will get, like, if you wanted to, like, pick the brain a little bit to, like, like, why did you do this?
Oh, so there's an intrigue element.
I would be like, oh yeah, you're trying to, like, see, and if they write you back, like, that's something. Right. But then, like, you, like, taking pictures in, like, negligee and, like, all trying to be all frisky. It's just like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, I think you need, if you're actually contemplating that, I think you just need to kick back and be like, what am I doing?
Right.
Am I really, especially if it's like something that's like widely publicized, that's like to the media. And you're like, okay, you're like, it's fine to say you're not fine. Like,
well, one of the things that we didn't talk about, although the trauma stuff I think maybe plays into this, is human beings kind of wrestle with their own darkness. And I sort of wonder if on some level there's something in people's minds where
like they did what I couldn't do.
Maybe some of that, or maybe trying to reconcile, like, maybe they actually are a good person. And like, if they're a good person, then maybe I'm a good person, even though I have terrible thoughts.
No, anyone can have terrible thoughts. Like, I could be like, I can have intrusive thoughts when I'm driving and being like, oh, that person on the sidewalk, like, but am I going to turn the car to that person on the sidewalk?
Right.
No, but did I have that thought? Yes. Did that make you a bad person? No.
Well, Judaism doesn't punish us for our thoughts. God doesn't punish us for our thoughts.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking, you're not doing.
God isn't the thought police. Right. Because that is the most important thing. Exactly. Actions are way more important than thoughts.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Like, you don't have to.
But we need to prevail over these things. Like what you're talking about with the person that maybe should like move or, get a new set of friends or whatever. Like that to me is just these people need to learn how to overcome themselves. And actually, now that I think about it, so this week's Torah portion involves Yaakov wrestling with the angel at night, or the demon. We don't really know the man. We don't know who it was. Could have been God, could have been his brother, could have been a lot of people. But the point is that in the wrestling match, he goes in with one name. It's like totally dark. He goes in with one name and he battles with this person. And then in the end, this mysterious figure blesses him by giving him a new name. And so maybe there is a certain kind of like, Jacob, I think, is dealing, like if you read the story of Jacob, like he's basically a trickster. He's a fraudster. He's a con man. There's sort of this dark night of the soul where he has to sort of learn how to not be that person anymore. And I think that's what the metaphor of Yaakov wrestling with the angel or the man or whatever is all about. And the fact that his name changes, it's like, okay, new year, new you. Like it's time to move past all of those things that you used to do to survive, which are holding you back. The familiar, like you were saying, the familiar versus the beneficial, right? So he goes from the familiar, which is being this kind of con man, trickster, whatever type person, to something that's a lot more abundant. And hopefully for these women who are attracted to these guys, maybe they can have something like that too.
Yeah,
we're
but
all
this is the
wrestling
thing.
with darkness.
I mean, there's difference between wrestling with darkness and then like an eclipse. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Wrestling with darkness, there's some light in there. There's this like, confrontation. There's like, boom, boom, hit for hit. But like, with these people who are like, doing these things and are attracted to these things, it's not wrestling with darkness. That's like a full on.
Well, but I would say though, in a certain kind of way, it is like they're wrestling with a darkness that's inside them, and the way that they win is by doing any of these number of things. Like, I think that's the metaphor that I'm trying to use here. I think that the way that they win this sort of dark battle of darkness in their soul sometimes is, getting into these relationships or glorifying some of these people that they hear about, that they read about or watch on TV. And ultimately, the sad thing is they're not winning, right? Like, they're not winning. Maybe we can do something to help that, but.
Yeah. Well, I say in closing, I feel like, closing quote would be,
Okay, please go for it. What you got?
Just watch what people do and not what people tell you. Like, actions speak louder. And if the actions are bad, then it's best to move along. I think this discussion, if someone does something bad and it's proven to be bad and, unaliving like 13 people, that's bad.
Yes.
There's no more gray area there.
Right.
That's bad. So move around. Move along.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be a serial killer.
Don't be infatuated one either.
Yeah. Goes both ways.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our sponsors at Darshan Yeshiva for making this content possible. Darshan Yeshiva provides beginner-level online Jewish learning, including the very popular Conversion Judaism program, with sponsoring rabbis and students all over the world. Start your Jewish journey any place, anywhere, and anytime with our conservative, reform, reconstructionist, Jewish renewal, humanistic, and post-denominational rabbi mentors. Become the Jew you always wanted to be with Darshan Yeshiva.